Welcome back to Top 10 Tuesdays, everybody. DBougie86 here again. And this week, me and the guys are doing our top 10 favorite public domain films. Now, this is a really interesting list. I actually had to look it up and shit, like the actual films that were public domain. And there's actually a big amount of films, and it widened my horizon of how many films I actually own that were public domain. And it was kind of a tough list to make, to be honest. There's a few that I had to leave off that I actually really loved, and one that I had to leave off because it was kind of an obvious answer type thing because it is a classic, and I know everyone loves that film. And Night of the Living Dead, of course, won't be on this list because it's just one that I think everyone will love. Plus, it's just an obvious choice for like a top 10. I wanted to do something a little different and stuff, and probably like pick another title that I actually enjoy watching to give it recognition. You know what I mean? Because Night of the Living Dead's an all-time classic film. It goes down and stuff, so it's one of my favorite films of all time. But I decided to leave it off the list just because it just doesn't. It would be too obvious of a choice for me. With that being said, let's just get into this list. At number 10, we have our first of many multi-packs. I think there's actually two multi-packs in this. And actually, there's a shitload of public domain films on this. But I'm choosing this for House on. I'm sorry if the doesn't zoom in. House on Haunted Hill, which is a classic Vincent Price film from what year does it say? 1959, of course. Really, really well done black and white film with Vincent Price and Elijah Cook Jr. Really like how that story goes down and stuff, and how it ends in the climax. Really good stuff. If you're a fan of House on Haunted Hill, def recommend it. Number 9, we have a film from Germany, a silent film, and that is, of course, Nosferatu, the original OG. This film is just one of my favorite films of all time, especially of the silent era. And it's really atmospheric and well done, and I really like how the vampire looks. This is pretty much like uh, just a undetained version of Dracula. The guy didn't actually have permission who directed this film, F.W. Monroe, to use the Dracula story, but he still made Dracula. It's pretty much the same storyline as Dracula, just with different character names and stuff in the film. Really atmospheric, and I really love the look, of course, of the vampire in this film. Really well done fucking film. I highly recommend the Kino release. It's probably the best the film has ever looked. It's number 9. Number 8, we have The Brain That Wouldn't Die. This is the Synapse release. I know Scream Factory actually put this out on Blu-ray. I haven't picked that one up yet, but I highly enjoy this film. It's really well done and shot, and I just like how the story goes. Kind of cheesy for the time period, but still a fun film, and it's just a blast to watch. Excellent film, of course, black and white. You're gonna have to pick up that Scream Factory to see how that transfer is down the line. The Synapse looks really good though. That's at number 8. Number 7, we have Messiah of Evil, which I was actually shocked that I didn't know this was a public domain film. And first time I ever saw this film, I'm like, what? It's one of those films where there's like a mystery of the plot and stuff going on with this crazy happenings and stuff, and this girl goes back home to find out what happened to her father, and a lot of crazy stuff just starts happening in the town. The people act awkward, and then shit goes down, and it descends in this weird, bizarre climax, which kind of spoils the film for you. But I highly recommend Messiah of Evil. If you can't get the Code Red one, because I know it's kind of a It's on his cartel site there, and it's kind of pricey. I won't lie, but I know that the Film Detective, which you might be seeing a little later in this, this actually has a DVD out of this film. I don't know how that transfer is, but I say check out Messiah of Evil. It's a really interesting film, I have to say. That's at number 7. Number 6, we have Crypt of the Living Dead. Now I know this. This is the Vinegar Syndrome limited edition. I know they actually just released this on one of their drive-in collection DVD packs. And the thing with the public domain version of this film, it's actually a black and white print of the film. And Vinegar Syndrome did a glorious job and restored it in its color. And it looks beautiful in this transfer. I don't know how the drive-in movie collection DVD looks, but it probably looks pretty good for Vinegar Syndrome DVDs. They look really good. So I highly recommend Crypt of the Living Dead. Awesome flick there with Andrew Prine, of course, from Grizzly and Town That Dreaded Sundown fame. That was on number 6. Number 5, we have Don't Look in the Basement. Now, every edition of this film, because it is a public domain film, it looks like complete like crap. But I'm actually stoked because I actually ordered the sequel to this film from Legless Corpse, and I was stoked to hear that they have a Blu-ray HD edition of Don't Look in the Basement on as a special feature of that film. So I'm kind of stoked to see how that looks. I know it's probably not going to look like an amazing transfer, but it's probably the best the film is going to look. So I'm excited, and I'm glad that the film is getting a sort of treatment, because it's actually a very bizarre film involving like it's like a mental hospital type deal with like mental patients, like a nursing home type deal. And what happens is like this nurse ends up going there, and shit goes down, and it just gets bizarre, and the ending you have to see to believe. Highly recommend Don't Look in the Basement. I might be actually doing a review on the sequel down the line. I'll let you know how the transfer looks when that comes up. So I'll let you know then. So number 5. Number 4 is A Bucket of Blood from director Roger Corman, of course, who starring Dick Miller, of course. Really, really interesting film. Kind of like the House of Wax story in a way. But I really love Dick Miller's performance as Walter Paisley in this film. Now, a fun fact in this, if you don't know Dick Miller, he actually reprises his role as Walter Paisley in a bunch of films. Well, he's not really playing the same character as this film, but characters that he played in other films, like The Howling, are named Walter Paisley because of this film. Really great performance by Dick Miller, and a real fun film. I highly recommend A Bucket of Blood. And this edition by the Film Detective is really well done, and the transfer is actually really, really good on it. So if you're a fan of A Bucket of Blood and you want to see a nice HD transfer of it, Film Detective, check them out. Great company. At number 4, we have I Bury the Living with Richard Boone. This film is directed by Albert Band, who's actually Charles Band's father. He went on to direct Ghoulies 2 and Dr. Mordred, actually, which is a full moon film. Really interesting story about this guy who takes the job as a caretaker of a cemetery. And it's kind of like a Twilight Zone episode in a way, with this map of the cemetery, and it has like these pins, and what happens is he takes all the black pins on other people's plots, and they end up dying. And the thing and the question is, what happens if he puts all white pins on the people's plots? That's pretty much what that means and shit. And you can see how that story's gonna go. Really interesting film, and a great performance by Richard Boone. I highly recommend I Bury the Living. it's a fun flick and really interesting, especially if you're a fan of like Twilight Zone type stories. Awesome stuff right there. That's at number 3. Number 2, we have The Beast from the Haunted Cave. Of course, the directorial debut of Monty Hellman, the director of Two Lane Blacktop, and produced by Roger Corman and his brother Gene. I actually did a review on this on Body Bags as a fill-in a couple weeks ago. That's on my playlist if you want to check it out. Really, really fun film with a lot of like no-name actors in it. It's a really low-budget film, but it starts out like this crime heist thriller type film with kind of like in the Reservoir Dogs style, and then it ends up turning into like this cheesy B-movie creature feature in like 20 minutes, and it's a quick watch, but I actually enjoyed it because of the way the story goes down. This film is very influential to future films, especially like From Dusk Till Dawn and shit, because the way that film starts, like a crime getaway film, turns into like a full-blown Lucio Fulci zombie slash this vampire film. Really good stuff. The Beast from the Haunted Cave. I highly recommend it. Creature looks cool as hell in that. And at number 1, of course, since I didn't have Night of the Living Dead, I had to choose this classic, and that's Carnival of Souls. Really, really, really bizarre film with some great atmosphere, and the lead actress's performance is really well done for the way the film is, and it has like this organic score, which is very airy, and just the imagery and stuff that goes through this film. Really, really well done film. It's a classic in my opinion, and everyone, if you're a horror fan, should check out Carnival of Souls. I know Criterion, this is actually the older Criterion edition, but they just announced the Blu-ray. I am curious how that Blu-ray looks, but this DVD edition looks really well for what it is. It comes with the director's cut of the film, which is well done and stuff, and it has some great special features. I highly recommend the Criterion release if you can find this one for cheap, because I know that Blu-ray doesn't have the director's cut on it, which is kind of a bummer because the director's cut actually has more to the story and stuff. But check out Carnival of Souls is all I'm saying. Either way, awesome film. That's the number 1. Alright guys, that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it. And I know I left a few films off. I mentioned a few other ones, of course, Night of the Living Dead. I just didn't want to put it on the list because it would have been an obvious answer for a lot of people, because it's like one of the number 1 public domain films of all time. And Monster from a Prehistoric Planet, aka Gappa, the Triphibian Monster, that's another favorite of mine. The Devil Bat with Lionel Atwill, that's a really good film. Not Lionel Atwill, I was staring at like one of his movies on the hood. Bela Lugosi, my bad. Yeah, he's in that film. And The Bat with Vincent Price, of course. That's another really good one. Really, really fun topic, and I can't wait to see the other guys' lists. So check those videos out, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Peace out, guys.